Good evening, I'm Wendy DeMonte. Tonight, I am sharing a story with you I wish I never had to write. It's a story that was supposed to have a good ending, a story of courage, of strength, of staring a deadly disease in the face and beating it. But unfortunately, that's not how this story ends. In October of 2010, almost exactly 1 year after my dad passed away, my mom was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer. It was her second bout with the disease in 7 years. She won the first round. We figured the second would be no different. Well, it was horribly different. But from the get-go, she wanted cameras there to capture the horrors of cancer in the hopes that her story would make at least one of you go to the doctor and get checked. Early detection is still key to beating this disease, but unfortunately for my family, that's not always the case. Many people have said they have been touched by cancer, but not everyone has really seen cancer up close and watched what it does to a person. Tonight, you have a front row seat to the surgery, the chemo, the shaving of the head, the nausea, all caused by a tiny little cell that huge amounts of money and effort cannot stop. We begin back on December 15th of 2010, moments before my mom headed into surgery. Diane Nancy, as my dad always called her, found humor in the most unlikely of places, even in an OR prep room where she's about to have a double mastectomy.
This is so cool, the hot air goes in, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Have they hooked it up yet?
Look wonderful
No, but that's what they tell me. And if you get a hot flash, they blow cool air.
A tumor on her left breast appeared on an MRI. A biopsy determined it was breast cancer. She decided she didn't want to worry about it coming back on the right side, so the plan was to remove both breasts. But my mom had another idea as well, a plan of awareness. She wanted cameras rolling to show people what cancer is really like.
And that's when I called you. And I said, hey, if it could help someone else, I think that's very, very important. Because life is so short, and you want to be there for your family, and you want to see those grandkids raised. Yes, you do.
Okay, good. Thank you.
When you only have one living parent, seeing them about to go into a major life-altering surgery is tough. My brother Jer and I were the nervous ones.
We're going to be successful, and we love you.
Oh. Thank you.
The surgery lasted about 5 hours. Dr. Rick McElreath went up into her left armpit to remove lymph nodes and to try to get every last cancer cell in my mom's body. When my mom woke up at Renown Medical Center, we thought the tough part was behind us. She came out of surgery fairly well. She now just had to heal. But a major emotional step forward would be seeing her chest for the first time.
I don't know.
You get this tight.
Yeah,
You want to untie this?
Yeah, untie that. Can you see it, Wendy? Okay. So there it is.
Now, does that hurt at all?
This side does not hurt. This side over here stings.
Well, you're
And I
pulling
have to
tape,
get-
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Jesus.
I can't pull that one. Okay. There's it. Oh, that kind of sticks. Is that? Ooh. Oh, that's weird. Huh.
Well, look at that.
Look at that. It goes in.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's,
That may be some of the lump they took out of there.
yeah, oh.
Moments after looking at herself in the mirror, she nearly collapsed. The shock of it was just too overwhelming. But we had no idea how shocking her case would become. Coming up next, we go to Dr. McElreath's office to get her staples out and to learn that the disease she had was one of the most difficult types of breast cancer someone can get. After recovering in the hospital, my mom came home to my house to continue recouping. She was greeted with welcome home cards from her grandchildren. And then just days before Christmas, we went to Dr. McElreath's office to unwrap the truth about her condition.
Well, go ahead and lie down. Let's take a look at it.
My mom had 4 drainage tubes. Remember that concave part of her chest from the hospital bathroom? That was actually one of the tubes. It would take a few weeks to get them all removed, but on this day, most of her staples were ready to come out. However, her scars that popped up like caterpillars of skin would never go away. Dr. McElreath explained she had triple-negative breast cancer, one of the hardest types to treat. Her lymph node involvement had everyone concerned.
The path report on the other side showed 4 separate cancers in that left breast.
Okay.
Three of them were pretty small. One of them was 5.5 centimeters.
Wow.
The margins around the tumor are all clear.
Good.
You did have a lot of lymph nodes that were involved with cancer. We took out 53 lymph nodes, lots of lymph nodes, and 37 of those lymph nodes had cancer in them. Yeah. So we needed to take out that. Now, also the lymph node, if you look at that, above the collarbone was cancer as well. You are going to need chemotherapy. It's going to be up to Dr. Conrad what type.
Okay.
Dr. Craig Conrath prescribed Taxotere and Cytoxin. It's a cocktail commonly known as TC. On January 14th, it started slowly pumping into my mom's veins.
Okay, so now we're beginning. This is the Taxotere. It's run over 60 minutes. We'll probably run it just a tad bit slower just to see how we're doing at first, and then we'll ramp it up to its max rate.
The Taxotere is supposed to stop the cancer cells from reproducing. The Cytoxin prevents cell growth and multiplication and may cause cell death. And like many chemos, it will attack her entire body, bad cells and good. As it slowly entered her, she says it just felt slightly cool, nothing more. My mom, who always dressed to the nines, came dressed to kill as many cancer cells as possible.
And what are you wearing around your neck?
Oh, I thought you would recognize that. How old were you when you made this for me?
I was 4.
4 years old. Get a good close shot of this. She made it when she was 4 years old. So I thought this would just be a nice little lucky charm to have. And I wore my red shoes for power, red vest for power. We came to do battle with cancer.
That's right.
And she brought this prayer quilt given to her by a friend. In fact, the power of prayer was certainly with her during this time frame. The next day, she would return to Renown to get a shot to boost her own white blood cell count. It's a routine she would follow for the next 4 months. For many people going through chemo, the worst part is the thought of losing their hair. As you have seen, my mom had beautiful golden locks, but when it started to come out, she didn't want to let it slowly happen. She took control because it was something she could control. When we come back, I'll take you to Bellissima Salon to watch that golden hair fall to the ground. By this part of our story, my mom is now into chemo a month. She still feels okay. She's getting a little bit tired, but she's still living a pretty normal life. Until now. On a warm February day, a group of her friends and my brother, who drove up from the Bay Area to surprise her, all went to Bellissima Salon to shave her head. That beautiful smile hides what is about to happen. And in true Winus fashion, we made a party out of it, toasting to the return of natural hair one day. And then she sat down in the seat no woman nor man wants to be in. Friends stood closely by for support as strip after strip of her hair comes off. My son Dominic was right in the middle of it, but it was too much to bear for my daughter Eva, who waited outside. And as always, my brother, with his large frame, provides a pillar of support. The final strands were shaved by Dami, eyes wide with wonder, as many of our eyes filled with tears.
What do I think? Try not to think at this point.
Lighter.
Oh. I don't think this is the ideal haircut. Let's put it that way.
Right, yeah.
Goodbye hair, hello new look. You would never know she was battling a deadly disease. My mom truly believed in the medical treatment she was getting, but she also wanted to tap into all that's offered cancer patients in our area. One of those alternative treatments is called Healing Touch. We go back to Renown, where my mom is in the middle of her first treatment. Dion Bloomfield is a Healing Touch practitioner at Renown. She's trained to use her energy on my mom's to find balance and facilitate spiritual, emotional, and physical healing.
So, you know, your physical body comes to here, but your energy body, your biofield comes out much further. And with training, you can feel the energy body. You can feel it in your hands. It feels tingly, warm, hot, cold.
During these hour-long sessions, my mom would see a man who resembled Jesus Christ hovering over her and staring into her eyes. There were always brilliant colors floating across the ceiling like clouds on a stormy day. She would describe it as calming, beautiful, and extremely emotional.
Still, you've got tears rolling down your face. I mean, I can't believe the emotion involved in it, but I think it's really worthwhile. And I don't know how many people are aware of this science. I certainly wasn't, but I'm going to pursue it.
Hi, Sally.
Hi. Perfectly all right to sit on the pity potty for a day and just say, why me?
She also talked with Sally DeLipka, the renowned cancer center. Everything in her office is free: wigs, books, scarves, even eyelashes. They also organize the Feel Good Look Better nights, where cancer patients get makeovers and a tote full of makeup to take home. It's an amazing resource for people dealing with cancer.
Hi, Diane.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
And one of the most valuable treatments to her physical well-being was physical therapy with Doug Herren. One of my mom's biggest goals was to not get lymphedema, which is a swelling in a person's extremities. Doug says the lymph system is involved with 10% of fluid uptake, and since my mom had so many lymph nodes taken out of her left armpit, lymphedema is a real threat. Plus, the surgery made her extremely tight on that left side.
There's a lot of scar tissue, there's fascial adhesions, and so we need to mobilize the tissue to get it moving, to get it more flexible, to get it more pliable and malleable.
Physical therapy did restore her normal range of motion in her left arm. She did all those things to help her body fight the cancer and recover from the surgery. But by April, the chemo was starting to take a toll. Food no longer tasted good. In fact, it tasted metallic, and her nausea made the thought of food unbearable. By now, she's spending most of her time in bed. Her bedroom is on the second floor of her house, which made it extremely tough to get to the kitchen downstairs. But she was determined the cancer would not chase her out of her room. Only a few eyelashes now frame her less sparkly blue eyes, and her healthy glow has given way to a grayer complexion. With one more chemo left to go, she's starting to wonder if the chemo will kill her instead of the cancer. But she's going to charge ahead with the final treatment because she truly believes, we all believe, good health is on the other side. Still, this has been a tough road.
Do you feel like you've missed out on a lot of things over the last 4 months because of
good heavens, yes. You know, you just have to let go of everything because your immune system is nil, and you can't be around people that have colds or coughs or the grandchildren. Look how many things I've missed with them.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because you just have to be so careful. And in 4 months, when they do all of the testing again, I hope I'm still in remission. But if I'm not, then we'll battle it again. Because you want to have that time.
Let's talk about something funny. How about chemo brain?
Oh, chemo brain is the worst. I had no idea until someone mentioned, oh, you've got chemo brain. I said, what is chemo brain? And literally, I mean, you just forget things. It's like you said something to me about something I was supposed to do, and I looked at you like, what are you talking about?
In May, I ran my first marathon honoring my mom's battle, and on this day, she officially ended chemotherapy. Now, all she had to do was get her strength back and start living again. But a PET scan foretold a different future. Radiologist Dr. Eric Kramer first looked at her CT scan. It looked perfectly normal, no sign of disease. But at the same time, she also got a more sensitive PET scan.
Here's the PET scan at the same level. There's increased metabolic activity there. You can see it on the side view the front, and there's a whole body shot.
While on chemo, her cancer had spread. It was now in her spine. It would eventually end up on her liver, lungs, and in her bone.
Dr. Conrath put her on maintenance chemo, basically a pill several times a month that was supposed to slow the spread of her disease. Even though it caused her almost constant nausea, we still went camping up at Lake Tahoe. We celebrated her 69th birthday with a family barbecue. She got to take my kids to their first day of 1st and 2nd grade. But by the middle of December, it was time to call hospice and make her as comfortable as possible until the end. When we come back, my mom's final goodbye. On December 20th of 2011, I had my photographer come to my mom's house to do one last interview. By now, my mom's mental clarity was lessening, and I wanted to get her on camera one last time before it was too late. We started shooting as the hospice nurse was leaving. She told us we had 4 more weeks with my mom, but this turned out to be her last day alive.
Merry Christmas if I don't see you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Absolutely.
Right.
Merry Christmas to
Merry
you.
Christmas.
The world doesn't stop, no matter what you're going through personally. The merry-go-round of life just keeps spinning. Everyone we knew was planning for the holidays. We were preparing for the worst. By now, the family room couch was my mom's constant home, except when my brother carried her to the bathroom or to the downstairs bed where she slept. Yes, the cancer finally forced her downstairs. Her lower jaw was completely numb. She would bite her lip all night long and wake up to a bloody pillow and face. And with no feeling in her jaw, drinking was difficult. Straws became necessary. And then there was the medicine, all those pills. So many, my brother and I couldn't keep track. My mom would laugh and smile, but her eyes told me she understood very little of what was going on. Yet she remained clearly focused on why we were doing this story.
I'm going down the path of death, and I just think it gives me a chance to say to other women, basically, you have got to cover cancer more often because so many women are dying.
For my mom, who throughout her entire life always had such a great sense of fashion and interior design, made gourmet meals by adding her secret touch to every recipe, and who loved her animals almost as much as she loved her kids, the thought of dying had become easier for her over the past 2 weeks.
At the very get-go, I think I was afraid to die. But I also think that we have a really nice place to go to. I feel like we will have wonderful, just crossing over kind of thing, and seeing people that we haven't seen for a very long time. And the hardest part isn't giving up material things like that. It's not like that at all. It's simply a strange journey to have all of you now, and then all of a sudden I don't have you guys anymore.
And she tells me she has proof we will see lost loved ones when our time comes, because for the past several nights, my dad has come for her.
Jer was getting dressed to, come over to help me get to bed, and I saw the vision, or whatever, of your dad, and he walked right past the window with his hat on, and I have not seen that before. Oh, good grief, I'm gonna have to carry you. Oh, okay. It's okay, Wendy. And then the other thing I've seen is there was something else. It's like a ram's head for whatever reason. I don't know why. Oh, good grief.
I didn't know you saw Dad last night.
No, I saw him after we hung up the telephone.
Did you?
Yeah.
She was also seeing a sheer, wavy curtain flowing just out of her reach. The hospice nurse says this is common in people who are dying. They call it the veil of death. My mom was getting closer to leaving this world and crossing over to the next one. At this point, my brother had been living with her for a week. He now calls this time as her constant companion a gift. Precious moments he will forever be grateful for.
What makes it difficult, I guess, is the fact that you never have as much time as you'd like. And also the fact that just being a wonderful mother that she was and father makes it all the more hard to have to let that go and realize that you don't have parents anymore. And what absolutely petrifies me is I am the oldest in the family now.
Like in the OR prep room 1 year before, humor again is getting us through, lightening the darkest of moments. As I look back on this day, it amazes me that my mom knew all along she was going to die on this night. She was telling us, but we just didn't know to listen. Or quite possibly, we were too afraid to hear her words.
To be honest with you, I thought I was going to die of cancer this week. I didn't anticipate being here for Christmas. But now that it's almost Christmas, I'm not sure exactly how fast this will go. She thought 2 to 4 weeks, and I really don't want to drag that on. If I could get out of it, I'd die, in a couple of hours.
As I kissed my mom goodnight, I told her it was okay to go. Whenever she was ready, we would honor that. As my brother carried her to bed, she saw my dad one last time outside the dining room window. Jer then tucked her in and told her the same thing I had. And she listened. Hours later, dying quietly, peacefully, with the same grace and elegance that defined her in life. So I'm often asked, how do you survive the death of your mom? I don't know the answer for you, but I know what I did, what I'm still doing. I turned to my passion. I started training 5 days after her funeral. I use exercise as my therapy. I breathe deeply. And on the 6-month anniversary of her death, I lived strong. I completed my first ever half Ironman triathlon. I vowed to live my life fuller, happier, more aware, and more engaged.
And I vowed to tell her story, in the hopes of helping other people beat this disease that took my mom's life. And others have joined the pledge.
Because of my mom's story, all area hospitals and Reno Diagnostic Center got involved and donated a total of 65 free mammograms, which were given away during our morning show. I also testified at the Nevada legislature on behalf of a bill that would make it mandatory for doctors to tell women what type of breast tissue they have. Through all of my research, putting together my mom's story, I learned about dense breast tissue. It increases your risk of getting breast cancer, and it can hide tumors on a mammogram. That was the case for my mom. Her cancer grew for at least 5 years undetected by her yearly mammograms. On June 3rd, 2013, Governor Brian Sandoval signed the bill, which was in honor of my mom, into law. All women deserve to know their breast density.
On behalf of my mom and me, thank you for watching.